He's a guy who has a lot going for him, and he works really hard. He has his focus and his drive toward racing. But he's also someone that has this great love for Enzo, for his dog, and this great romantic love with Eve, his wife, and this great paternal love for his daughter. But at the same time, these bumps in the road, these rainstorms, these things keep coming into his life that I really love the journey of where Denny started and then where he ended. These events that happen, you know, your wife getting sick, your daughter being taken away from you, you can't ever really plan for those moments if or when they were to happen. So I think the idea that, you know, you just have to be present and you just have to try and almost like dream a little bit ahead so that you can have a level of reaction. You know, there's even in racing, when Denny talks about car racing, you know, he talks about driving in the rain and how if he creates the circumstance that he's in, then he can control it, because rain is an unknown factor. And if you're fighting against it, then it's going to win. But if you're using it to create your own conditions, then you can control the outcome. There's a lot of Enzo philosophy that we, the characters, don't get exposed to because we're not hearing that narration. But when you read the script and you read the book and you see these kind of hopeful way of looking at humanity through the eyes of an animal that wants to be so badly a human, you start to understand the power of impact that we have. I feel like Denny was always one half of an equation. He was just one half, and he didn't even know it. And he's so focused. But then when Eve comes into his life, he's whole. All of a sudden, he finds his real purpose. He finds his stability. He finds even his passion toward what he was already quite passionate about his racing. And there is something so amazing about Eve's spirit, about what Amanda brings to Eve in making this kind of perfect match for Denny when he didn't even know that's what he was needing in his life. She brings reality. You know, Amanda, there isn't one moment that I don't believe. Every emotion, every intention, everything that she's saying. I mean, even the funny stuff in between takes, because Amanda's kind of a joker. She has such a heart and a spirit to her own life, the way she approaches just being a human being, that the beauty she brings into the spirit of Eve is remarkable. And I mean, I couldn't see anybody else playing that role, nor would I want to see anyone else playing Eve but Amanda. To be 8 years old and have the depth with which she plays Zoe is, I mean, it's bananas to me, you know. And she still has the spirit of being a kid. She's very professional, but she has this weight to the emotion of what this kid is experiencing. And again, it's one of those things that I look at her like I've looked at Amanda, like I've looked at Parker. I'm like, I just believe they're experiencing this. She is as present in Zoe as Amanda is as present in Eve. And she's also fun. You know, her being able to be a kid allows me to kind of be a big kid too. Just because Parker is a dog, it doesn't mean he doesn't have the deepest, most beautiful soul. And you see it. You see it in his eyes. You know, the one thing that I had said to Teresa and April and our crew of dog trainers was, guys, I really selfishly need a scene partner. You know, I need as an actor to have someone or, you know, an animal that's going to look in my eyes and I have to believe them to feel something. And the second I met Parker, he's just so expressive and such a loving animal that, you know, there's a lot that I got there's a lot that I got as Denny from Parker, the acting dog. It's funny, there are moments where he and I have such different styles of working, but what he and I have built in the conversation that we've had about this man Denny and about this family and about this relationship and this drive to be a great car racer is trust. You know, the moments where he and I wouldn't even agree on a point in a scene, I would say, well, Simon, I trust you. Let's try it, let's try that. And then he'd say to me, well, I trust, you know, your instincts, so let's go with that. And it wasn't out of being polite, it was knowing that we both had value to what we were saying. It was a big conversation with Simon and I before we started this film, was the idea that Denny never hears what's going on in Enzo's head. But for a frame of timing, we kind of need to know it. And so it was like, well, do we get an actor to read Enzo's lines on set? Do we have our script supervisor, Jessica, read it? Like, what do we do? And then it was decided that, well, I don't need to hear it because I wouldn't from my dog. So let's just let it ride and let's make sure we have enough time, shooting time, so that Simon can edit the words into whatever we're shooting picture of. So there's a lot of Enzo's point of view. There's a lot of Enzo's knowledge and grace that when I'm shooting the scene, I'm not even really aware of. I'm just not. Because I, as a character, don't hear it, and I don't need to hear it. So I'm looking forward to the moment when I can go and watch the film as an audience member and hear Kevin's great voice and listen to Enzo's wisdom and grace. And I'm very much looking forward to that. It is beautiful to see the level of emotion that comes from these animals that are just there to love us. And that's all they're looking for in return. Maybe a little bit of food, belly scratches and all that. But it's something beautiful to understand that they can convey in a look. And even as an actor, it reminds me that sometimes you don't need the words. And then as a person, as a man, sometimes there are no words. There's just the experience. You share a common moment where you look in someone's eyes and you both know exactly what you're feeling.